Hi, my name is Kelly Cheatham. I'm a digital learning specialist for Fort Worth ISD. In this week's tips and tricks video, I am going to be talking about Google Classroom. This is episode 2 of tips and tricks for Google Classroom. So in our video today, we are going to try to talk about 5 things. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to use the reuse post feature and how that could solve some of the problems that you might have had in your Google Classroom so far. Then we're going to look at quiz assignments, specifically how to import those grades. After that, we will talk about how to organize your Google Classroom classwork tab using topics, specifically topics like today, and then how to move those assignments out of that topic when the day is over. The fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you can use grading categories so that your students can see exactly what kind of assignment each assignment is. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is how to set up Guardian access so that your parents can receive updates about the assignments in Google Classroom. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, the first thing we're going to talk about is that reuse post feature. So one thing that might have happened to you already is that you might have posted an assignment without remembering to change the attachment to make a copy for each student. So if that has happened, I'm going to actually go ahead and do that now. If that's happened to you, you might notice that once the assignment is posted, you are unable to go back in and edit it and change that attachment to make a copy. So once the assignment has been posted, you can no longer select that option there. So a quick workaround for that is to actually reuse that assignment by using the reuse post feature and then delete the original assignment. So here I have this What is Culture Hyperdoc. I have accidentally posted it without selecting that option to make a copy for each student. So I'm going to go up into my Create button and I'm going to choose that Reuse Post. When you use Reuse Post, the first thing you're prompted to do is select the class you'd like to reuse it from. And so you'll select, in this case, the current class. And you'll notice when you're looking at the list of classes you can choose from, you should see archived classes in here as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and find that particular class. So here's our class right here. And then I'll find that assignment that I have accidentally posted without changing that attachment permission. And I'll click on Reuse. It's going to take just a moment to think, but it will pull up a brand new assignment, but all of the information is already filled in. And all I'll need to do is come in here and we're going to change the attachment permissions to make a copy for each student. Now, because this is a brand new assignment, we have that option again. You'll want to double check your settings on the right-hand side. One of the things that will not copy over is the due date. So if you had a due date selected originally, you will need to come back in and reselect that due date. And then when you're ready, you're just going to click on Assign. So you'll notice that once this assigns, we'll actually have 2 assignments called What is Culture Hyperdoc. So we'll want to go in and we will want to delete the old one. So here's my old one. I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to delete it. Now my students are able to access their own copy of that Hyperdoc to continue to add their answers there. The next thing we're going to look at in this video is using that quiz assignment and specifically importing grades. Now, a quick note about this, I will have another video called Tips and Tricks for Google Forms where we'll talk more in detail about how to set up your form. But one thing you will want to make sure you have done when you create the assignment is at the bottom of a quiz assignment, you should see the option to turn on grade importing. You'll want to make sure that this is turned on. Now, a quick note about this, if you have multiple attachments on this particular assignment, this option will be grayed out. You cannot select it. So you'll want to make sure you only have the Google form attached in order to use the grade importing feature. Once the grade importing feature is turned on, your students will take the quiz as they regularly would. And now when you come in to view their results, you're going to open up the vocabulary quiz here. I'm going to come down to View Assignment. You'll notice I have one student who has taken this already, and I see that in my turned in category on the left-hand side. But notice that it has not pulled in a score for him yet. yet. There's one additional step I have to take on my end. I have set up this quiz already to auto grade. So I've added answer keys. I've added points for each question. And so now all I need to do is come up to this import grades button in the top right-hand corner of the student work tab here. And when I click on that, it's going to pull in the scores for all of the students who have currently taken the quiz. So it's going to finish up here, and you'll notice that this particular student's score will be automatically filled in my grading column over there. Perfect. So we can now see that this student got a 2 out of 5. Notice that it is in draft form. For my student to see that score, I will need to turn it or return it to him. I can select that box and click return. All right. Now, when future students take this quiz, you'll notice I have another student who hasn't taken it yet. For that score to be pulled in, I will need to follow those steps again. So I'll need to open up the assignment, come to that student work tab, and click import grades each time I have a new submission. So that's something to kind of keep in mind there. Now, notice first off that when we attach a quiz, we don't have physical student attachments underneath each student's name here. So to view those results, we'll actually have to go into the quiz to see them. I'll talk more about that in our tips and tricks for using Google Forms in another video. The third thing we're going to look at today is how to organize your classwork tab with topics. And so you'll notice that right now in virtual teaching, and even when we get back to that hybrid model shortly, it might help to have a topic called today or this week or something along those lines so that your students are able to quickly go in and find their daily assignments. But once the day is over, the question is, what do you do with those assignments then? So you can't really archive assignments in Google Classroom. Instead, what you'll do is you'll move them out of the today topic and into their actual content area topics. So you'll notice that my topics for this class are set up on the left-hand side. I have a topic called today, but then I have topics for each of the subjects. If you are a self-contained teacher, this would make sense. If you are departmentalized, your topics might be units instead or particular skills. But in this case, this makes sense for my class. So when the day is over and this assignment is no longer something my students need to be working on, all I have to do to move that assignment is hover over it, and you'll notice I get this little outline, and then I can click and drag it. So when I click on it and hold down my mouse, I can now move this assignment. So I'm just going to move it down. You know, I don't think I have a social studies topic yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and, for the purposes of this, I'll put it right in my reading topic. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop it in underneath my reading topic. You'll notice that the space where it will land has turned to that light gray color. And once I release, that has been officially moved from my today topic to my reading topic. And so you'll just follow that step for each of the assignments that your students will no longer need to access. So my vocabulary quiz, for example, I can move that down into my reading topic as well and just drop. So that's a suggestion for organizing your classwork tab using those topics and then kind of quote unquote archiving those assignments for your students. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to use the grading categories to kind of give your students an indication of what type of assignment it is. And those grading categories are actually set up in our settings within our classroom. So our settings are found in this settings gear in the top right-hand corner. And if we scroll down towards the bottom, we have a whole section about grading. To add those grading categories, you'll notice that there is a button down here that says Add Grade Category. When you click on that, you're prompted to name the category. So it would make sense to match the categories that you have in your focus gradebook. I'm then going to add my next grading category. And I'll keep adding those grading categories. All right, once I have my categories entered here, I'll click on Save. And now to give each assignment a category, all I need to do is go in and edit it. And then from here on out, I will have this option when I create a new assignment. You'll notice that in this right-hand panel where I have all my settings, I can change this grade category. And in this case, I'm going to make this one classwork. And now when I save that assignment, you'll notice that the word classwork actually appears in that assignment preview. So that's a really helpful way for your students to kind of see what kind of assignment that is. If you are doing something that's a test, for example, or a quiz, I'm going to go back down to, here's our science weekly quiz. I'm going to edit this assignment, and I'm going to make this one tests or quizzes. And you'll notice that category will appear in that assignment preview. The final thing we're going to look at today is how to turn on guardian access so that your parents can have an update as to what assignments their student needs to complete within your class. So to do that, we're going to start by going into your settings gear and then scrolling down into the general section. Towards the bottom of it, you should see an option for guardian summaries. You'll want to go ahead and turn that on. Once it's been turned on and you save that setting, and then you're going to come over to your People tab, and then you'll notice that next to each student, you'll have the option to invite guardians. And so you'll go ahead and click on Invite Guardians, and you'll type in that guardian email address. Once you've clicked Invite, that person should receive an email inviting them to become a guardian, and then that person will receive weekly updates regarding missing assignments, upcoming assignments, and announcements that you've put in the classroom. So it's just a great way to give them kind of an overview of what's happening in your Google Classroom. If for whatever reason you don't see the option to turn on guardian access, please reach out to your digital learning specialist. That is something that we can turn on or fix for you so that you have this option in your Google Classroom. All right, that's all for today. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me or your digital learning specialist, and have a great day.